Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics, and in this video I want to take a look at the 125s we set up a little while ago, give you an update. I wanted to show you what tanks can look like after they've been set up, after things are settling in, and while they're still in a transitionary phase when the plants are getting used to the water parameters and the fish are getting used to their surroundings. I don't want to leave the impression that every tank we set up is absolutely beautiful 100% of the time after we initially set them up. Of course they're going to look great when you set them up at first, but now let's take a look at them a little while longer and see how they're progressing. So let's talk about this 125 Lake Tanganyika tank first. This is a great tank. I still really love it. It's still one of my favorite tanks in all the fish room, but you can see here it is maturing. It's going through some stages. We've got some green hair algae, and the point here is I really wanted to show what tanks look like when they're in transition. Anybody can show a tank when they first set it up and it can look amazing. I wanted to give an update a few weeks later so we could see what it's looking like, how it's coming along. The fish are doing great. Everybody's alive, everybody's happy, they're finding their niche, they're finding their spot in the tank, and that's really exciting to see. The tiger pictilis, which were really reclusive, are all coming out, and they're silly fish. The calvus are out, everybody is out, they're swimming around. The tank itself is in good shape, the water parameters are fine. The issue that we're having here, like I said, we've got some green hair algae, and it was worse, we pulled a lot of it out. The jungle val is growing, but you can see some of it starting to die back a little bit as these plants adjust to their water parameters. Love this tank. It's in a transitionary stage, and we still have a few plants I'd like to add. I mentioned before I'd like to add some crypts, and we're still going to do that. But the fish here are looking good, and we're going to kind of let them settle in before we add anything more. But I like that. I like the fact that they're not super aggressive. They are getting along pretty well with one another, and they're finding their spot. So the bottom 125 I'm a little less pleased with. This tank is not going as planned, but again, the purpose here, I want to show you what these tanks go through after they've been set up for a while, and some of the adjustments you have to make sometimes. So we set this tank up for our Geophagus pellegrini. They were in a 75-gallon. That tank was getting a little small for that group that we had, so we put them in this 125. We brought over the white skirt tetras. We have since added some black phantom tetras. These are great fish, one of my favorites. I really enjoy them. But we are having some issues with this tank in terms of plant die-off, and the fish really aren't doing what I had hoped they would do. So with the Geophagus, I was hoping, bringing over the white skirt tetras, bringing in the black phantom tetras, which is a schooling fish, kind of a dither fish, it would bring the Geophagus out more. That hasn't happened. They pretty much spend all their time behind the large driftwood in the back corner, and so that they're not really coming out too much. So that's pretty disappointing. I suspected that might be the case. I was hoping it wouldn't be, but they're still back there. So we're hoping maybe at some point they'll come out a little bit more, feel a little bit more secure. The other issues that we're having with this tank right now is some of the jungle val on the right-hand side of the tank that all died back. Now this can happen sometimes, and sometimes it will regrow later on. The nice thing is we've got plenty of val. We can always put some back there. But this right side of the tank is looking pretty bare, and we're going to have to deal with that. Again, we want to get some crypts for this tank. I think that will work well over there. The angels are doing good. They seem to be happy in their new setup. The tetras themselves are doing pretty good. They seem to be happy. But overall, this tank is far from done. And with the jungle val dying back the way it did and the Geophagus not coming out, there are definitely some changes we want to make. There are some other fish that we're going to be adding to this tank in the future. I've got some on order. I think it's going to be pretty awesome, but hopefully that will bring out the Geophagus a little bit more, and we got to get some more plants in here, and I think we'll be on the right track. You can see a little bit of brown algae is forming on the rocks, which I don't mind. It gives the tank a more natural look, a little bit more aged look to it, which is fine. Outside of the jungle val dying back, most of the other plants are doing just great. And of course, I just wanted to give you an update on the 75, Roger and Ruby. They are surrounded by their babies, lots and lots of babies. We actually did a species profile on these two. I'll put that in the description as well as in the upper right hand corner. But this is kind of exciting to see. It's a lot of babies, but they're doing great. They're happy. Pretty much as soon as we put them in this tank, they spawned, and a couple days later we started to see little fish in the gravel, and now you can see here they are growing. They're happy, they're healthy. I think they like their new home, and they may get an even larger home at some point. What's interesting about them, and I didn't really mention this in the species profile, but the babies actually pick off of the parents, kind of like discus do. You can see him here kind of eating off Raj, and he doesn't seem to mind. It's kind of cool, cool little feature. But they're doing great. The tank is still, you know, the gravel's still everywhere, but it's their tank. They can do with it what they want. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We're going to be doing more updates as these tanks continue to progress, as we add fish, as we add plants, and as things stabilize a little bit. So if you enjoyed this video, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.